Welcome to this screencast on legal research for summer law clerks, interns, and externs. Know that in addition to the resource I'm presenting in this screencast, also available are several screencasts. There are a series on legal research specifically geared towards rising 2Ls. They're called the Summer Research Series. They target various topics including researching secondary resources, federal and state case law, administrative law, and statutory law. They're available on the School of Law Media Services website under internal recordings. So if we go to the School of Law's website, scrolling down to the bottom of the website under Services and Resources on the right-hand side of the page, click Media Services. You'll probably at some point be prompted to enter your law school username and password. Do so. Under Recordings on their website in the menu, click on Internal Law School Events, and then under Available Events, click on UNM Law Library Summer Research Series. You'll scroll through them and you'll see there are so many resources available for you for your perusal in case you haven't taken admin law but you need to research it, in case you haven't done anything on legislative history and you need to know how to research it, right? Going forward, librarians are good people to know. You can reach us if you email us at libref@law.unm.edu. You see a shot of all of us, including from the law library director to the head of public services, to the head of research, the head of e-resources, the assistant director and dean of institutional climate and equity. Research is our foundation. It helps you find the law, understand the law, and apply the law. Let's talk about law school electronic research resources and access to those resources during the summer. This is about your professional responsibility as a lawyer and your ethics of research working a summer job. Let's start with yes. Yes, you can use your student LexisNexis password. Use as needed. You can use New Mexico OneSource now. It's free for everyone. You can use the other stuff the library purchases for the law school community. Use it as needed. We will go through these library guides shortly. By way of the library's A to Z list on the webpage, make sure that you're going to be asked to supply your username, which is your law school email username, and your password, the last 4 digits of your banner ID, and the first 2 letters of your first name. The prompt there will remind you of all of those details as well. However, depending on your employment situation, it's possible you may or may not be able to use your student access to Westlaw. If you are doing work for commercial purposes, like a paid clerk job, no. If you're working as an extern for credit, probably. If you're working as an unpaid intern, probably. Eligible students can register through lawschool.westlaw.com and access these services. Let's talk about the not so fine print. Don't share. Despite the fact that most of our paid law school research services are available to you during your summer clerk, extern, or internship job, there is one big limitation. Do not share your student passwords with other people. Seriously, really, please don't do it. The Westlaw rules are different for paid summer work. But don't be annoying. Most likely you have access to far more databases on your student passwords than your host institution, the place that's hosting you as an extern, intern, etc., operating in the real world, including the judiciary. Even the judiciary's contract isn't as extensive and doesn't provide the kind of access that you have as a student. Please tread lightly. Don't constantly remind your coworkers there of what they don't have and do have, and be choosy about the sources you decide to access. Don't just dive into everything, especially anything you know that your fellows at the host institution can't access. Always choose quality over quantity, and ask your employer what they'd prefer that you use, what they like. Something involving student passwords or something tied to their in-house subscriptions. Westlaw, Lexis, something else. And going back to yes, you should document your search process and not in an ugly pile of mess. Why do you want to document? You want to cover yourself in case there are any questions about your process, and you want to be able to hand it off later to somebody in a very consistent, reliable, well-recorded, clear manner. Here is a template, a sample research log as an example of how you can document these things. This is what to record. You want to record the date of the incident that created the issue. It helps limit the scope of your research. You want to record facts, chronology. It'll help you decide the relevance of your search results on the fly. You want to document source and citation info, not just to remind yourself what you've checked so you're not redundant and you don't check again, but also because you need that information to then cite it later if you find it useful. Document your search terms because you'll be doing a lot of searches. You don't want to have to go back and think, wait, did I actually search that area or not? You want to document your findings in any evaluation that you perform. For example, say you're researching bankruptcy matters and bankruptcy proceedings. Under the federal rules, you're searching something and you find something under the federal rules of bankruptcy proceedings, 7001 under adversary proceedings. You note that it has something to do with a proceeding to recover money or property. You also figure out your analysis shows that the other 10 categories of adversary proceedings probably don't apply and aren't useful for your situation. You also note that there's something under litigation under a bankruptcy action and that the rules are same or similar to the federal rules of civil procedure. How about your other findings? Maybe you want to document that you are thinking that next time you should consult more general secondary authority on adversary proceedings, and maybe something to do with breach of contracts in particular, right? Maybe you want to document sources to look at later. Don't just highlight a document and assume you'll go back to all those good sources. Note them here, record the citations you find and any next steps to take. And then the date and the status, the date you conducted the research to save time with updating it later. And the status, any negative treatment found in Shepard's or Keysight. If you're going to take a break, maybe until next week, maybe until the weekend, make some quick notes before you go get coffee or finish for the day. You want to record your potential issues that come up. Did you answer the call of the question? What is the strength of your authority? Do you need to seek more sources while you pick the research up back up again? Be cost and time conscious, ask intelligent questions, and be flexible. Use of law school research resources won't cost your externship placement any money, but your time is valuable. Always keep an eye on the bottom line and start developing good habits for your law practice. Be cost and time conscious. Don't waste time and money on pointless research. Can you find what you need from a free resource, especially a government source? Look there first. Are you tempted to start your research with a keyword search of case law? Don't do it. In most cases, you will save time by consulting a secondary source first. In the annotations in that secondary resource, you'll find the case law, the statutory law, the citations to the primary law that you need at least to start. Ask intelligent questions. Is it time to change search terms? Is it time to narrow or expand your issue? Is it time to follow up with the person who gave you the assignment if you have questions? Be flexible and avoid annoyance, right? Is it a Lexis shop or exclusively Westlaw? When do you stop? Are you seeing the same cases or resources over and over? Are you following a tangent? Let's talk about research costs. In other words, a brief tangent about life outside of law school. Let's talk about Lexis. This is very, very text heavy, so I'm giving you a warning sign right here because this is data that's very compacted, but you need it going forward. Let's talk about Lexis. It's a heavy presence in New Mexico firms, state courts, state agencies, but by no means exclusive. Under a typical flat rate contract agreement, searching does not incur a charge, but viewing documents does. You can folder a document, put a document in a folder without viewing it at no charge. You can also get a free quick KWIC preview of the document along with info on what you would be charged. Watch for indicators that you've stepped outside your organization's subscription plan. Lexis will warn you. One example, it costs about $80 to view one document in a Imprimo treatise like Chisholm on Patents that's outside the subscription plan. If you're required to enter a client code when you log on, your research charges will show up on a client bill. The firm will discount them based on whatever deal they have with Lexis, and your supervising attorney will see the bill first. Remember to use folders and downloading to your advantage. Stay organized, find cases later when you need them again. Spare a tree. All of our UNM law students and faculty have the ability to search federal court dockets and Lexis Advance using CourtLink. You can find CourtLink under the waffle in the upper left-hand corner of the Lexis Advance interface when you log in. So look under that waffle design in the upper left-hand corner, and that's where you can find CourtLink. It does not allow access to all full-text filings for every single federal court matter. Our researchers right now can access these things via Pacer. You will need to come to us at the reference desk to get copies of full-text federal court filings that are not included in the CourtLink database. That's where emailing libraf@law.unm.edu comes in. Let's talk about WestlawNext now. A few quick highlights. You can search broad and narrow the results with filters. There is no charge until you open a document. Set your results list to show the most detail so you can see as much as possible for free. Use your notes and folders to your advantage. The history and TOC policies, the table of contents, you can view items in your history for free that same day, and you can browse your table of contents for free. The way key site charges are billed depends on each organization's specific contract with Westlaw. If in doubt, ask them before you log on. Should you go it alone? No need. You can call your West reference attorneys before you log in. They can run sample searches for you, iron out a search strategy that works, and will give you the specific search strategy to use and will save huge amounts of time and money. The West reference attorney numbers are available and featured primarily on the page, and you should by all means contact them to assist you. Let's talk about starting points. I'll now show you some good places to start a research project other than a keyword search on Westlaw. I'm not discussing how to search for case law with keywords. You probably have already done this many times with mixed levels of success. As any law librarian will tell you, and you've probably heard over and over from your legal research instructor, case law is a terrible place to start your legal research. Your best options are to find a secondary source to orient you to your topic and to place your topic in context and generate relevant search terms. This is an opportunity to take time to plan. I'm showing you right now a librarian created plan. We feel it represents best practices in legal research. These are your best options, right? To either find that secondary source that I just spoke about so you can orient yourself to the topic, or use an annotated statute. So secondary sources up here, or common or statutory law. Use that annotated statute to jump into highly relevant case law and secondary sources. The annotations are key. In New Mexico, the best place to do this is via New Mexico OneSource of Law. We'll discuss OneSource in just a moment, but first we'll talk about some other things, including a few salient features. Starting May 1st of last year, New Mexico OneSource breaks ground and has made history and was reported nationally as being a free resource, and it's a huge value for practitioners in New Mexico, and also features annotated statutes and a full database of searchable case law that breaks ground and were a forerunner in the nation of doing this for our community. In New Mexico OneSource is possibly the single most important research tool at your disposal. And we hear from externship placements that they want you to know this resource. So take some time to kick the tires of it, explore it as you first start your externship. Why is it so important? Annotated statutes is number one at the top of that list. Both the current versions and historical back to the early or mid-90s are available on OneSource, sometimes as far back as 1989. Also available, both published and unpublished New Mexico judicial decisions, a smattering of federal opinions, New Mexico Attorney General opinions. The New Mexico Administrative Code is searchable on here. Downloadable official court forms, editable Word format. So you can edit the Word format of these downloadable official court forms. 2 of our law reviews and New Mexico session laws from the current legislature and historical back to 1993. I've linked in this particular PowerPoint to New Mexico OneSource. Let's just search a particular section of the New Mexico statutes annotated. Remember, what's available on New Mexico OneSource, unlike what's available on Lexis or Westlaw, is the official annotated version of the New Mexico statutes. Doesn't have the West annotations, it has the official New Mexico annotations. So let's go and look at, for example, the section of the statutes on revival of causes of action. Under this, we see the title of the section. We see the actual text of the statute, and then underneath that we see the history line, when it was originally passed and what session law originally passed it, and then every time it was amended, separated by semicolons. So first established by the laws of 1880, then amended in 1884. Section 1873, then amended again 1897. Then 1915, etc. You see how they're separated by those semicolons. Underneath that are the annotations. You see that official annotations include compiler's notes, such as things like cross-references, as well as New Mexico case law, as well as other sections of the New Mexico statutes under cross-references and so forth. Really, really useful information from New Mexico OneSource. Let's talk about free resources to begin legal research other than OneSources. Who doesn't like free? There are subject-specific research guides prepared by UNM Law Library and other law school libraries. They are terrific sources of free legal research guidance. For areas of law that are new to you, this is an excellent, trustworthy source of guidance. The same rules apply here as any website. Check for when the resources are last updated. Make sure you know who the information is from, and are they trustworthy? This is an example of the research guides that are available on our website. Do you want to search for guides from other law libraries? In Google, try searching research guide and your topic, like administrative law, or LibGuide and your topic. This works for non-law research topics as well. Do you have a specific fact pattern? There are 2 sources that can make your research life much easier: Causes of Action and American Law Reports. Causes of Action is a great source for tort-based actions with sample pleadings, leading cases, and practice tips. It's available on Westlaw Edge. There is an index available in the electronic and using print index. I know that print index isn't available, but going forward in the future, it is available. It can often reduce frustration using the electronic index, as with most of Westprint products now available on WestlawNext. This is the beginning of the entry: Causes of Action for Internet Defamation, which goes on to include a substantive law overview, sections on practice and procedure, and discovery, and an appendix containing a sample case. A model petition and answer. Causes of action is only available in print in the law library or via a Westlaw product. So you can access it via Westlaw if you have access to Westlaw this summer. Also useful, American law reports. They are annotations, or in other words, what they call articles. Their annotations contain a wealth of information. The reports can especially be useful for a review of case law across jurisdictions relative to a specific fact situation. Please note you can key cite and shepherdize an American Law Reports annotation to find citing references, which is fabulous. It's available on both Westlaw and Lexis. This example shows the annotation outline for the ALR about civil liability of internet dating services prior to the start of the report itself. This is just the outline. Then there's a table available further down. It appears showing laws and cases by jurisdiction pertinent to the topic of this annotation. Let's talk more about free resources. One terrific source of free research guides are subject-specific research guides prepared by the large law school libraries, not ours, large law school libraries. They have tons of staff to keep these up to date, unlike us. The best way to find these subject-specific research guides, combine the words LibGuide with the subject, such as administrative law. Or combine the phrase research guide with the subject. This is one example of many. UW, or University of Washington, updates their guides on a regular basis. The list of topics is very long, and each guide links out to other research guides from other schools. For areas of law that are new to you, an excellent, trustworthy source of guidance. The same rules apply here as any website. Check for when it was last updated and make sure you know who the information is from and are they trustworthy. Let's talk about law review articles. A law review or news article can be another good place to start your research rather than diving directly into a statute or case law search. What did I say about starting case law? Only start there if you have a lot of time to burn. You know that most law reviews post their latest and greatest on Westlaw and Lexis, but you have student access to other good options. There's something called LegalSource. LegalSource can be found on the Law Library's A to Z list of licensed databases. Why should you use it? Well, it indexes or organizes and provides access to by subject. So it will catch relevant articles that lack the keywords that you might use to search Westlaw or LexisNexis, right? So it allows you to catch things that you would otherwise miss if you're doing a Boolean or keyword search. Its coverage goes back to 1908, way farther back than Lexis or Westlaw. And the search results will be smaller and more relevant, a huge time saver. Find a relevant article that's not full text. Email the title and the citation of the article that's in that citation of the non-full text thing to the law library for help locating it. Also note that Hein Online can be found on that A to Z list as well. Why should you bother with Hein Online? Hein Online includes full text coverage back to issue 1 for most law reviews. And it includes some law reviews that Westlaw and Lexis don't include. So if you're trying to be thorough and comprehensive, this is the way to do it. So I'm at our Law Library website homepage. I'm scrolling down on the left-hand side of the page. I'm in Quick Links. I'm going to go under the Quick Links to A to Z research databases. I'm going to log on to these. I've told you about LegalSource under L and Hein Online under H. Going into LegalSource, I'm clicking on L. Scroll down and I'm finding LegalSource. Also LegalTrack, both are very good. I'm logging in with my username and password, that thing that I told you the database will ask for, especially as we are working from home right now. It will ask for this of you, but it'll tell you what the username and password should consist of. I'm logging in. From there, I can search legal source. You can also search a lot of these other databases like Hein Online and so forth in this way. Let's talk about legal encyclopedias. AmJur and CJS, two big legal encyclopedias, can be found on both Lexis and Westlaw. AmJur is selective, in contrast to CJS's comprehensiveness. This means that AmJur Legal Encyclopedia provides citations only to the cases the editors consider the best or most important. This results in shorter footnotes, and it adds to the readability, arguably, of AmJur's articles. In addition, the set of encyclopedias is more likely to cover important federal statutory material. Again, it's available on Lexis and Westlaw. CJS articles tend to be more comprehensive than AmJur. CJS provides cites to published cases and the USCA, which is the United States Code Annotated, the Federal Statutory Code, as well as any appropriate West Digest topics and key numbers for your subject. Could be really useful for your research. Therefore, CJS is helpful when using West Digest. It's available only on Westlaw. Why do you want to use a legal encyclopedia? Well, encyclopedia articles can be a really good starting place if you're researching in an unfamiliar area of law. They provide more in-depth information than a legal dictionary while being nearly as accessible and easy to use. Encyclopedias also include citations to cases and other useful materials on a particular issue. Legal encyclopedias, however, are not intended to be used as authoritative sources, so you don't want to cite to it in your briefs, memos, or scholarly papers. You want to mine those articles for the primary sources that you'll then research, analyze, and debate about citing to in those briefs, memos, or scholarly work. Let's talk about nutshells. Nutshells can provide a terrific, concise intro to an unfamiliar area of law. They're not available on Westlaw. The Law Library's West Academic Online Study Aids subscription through the A to Z databases list. So again, if we go to the Law Library's homepage, go to A to Z Research Databases, click on W, and scrolling down under West, look for West Academic Online Study Aids. Again, enter your username and password at the prompt. Logging in, you'll be able to get electronic resource access. So you could search for them here, you could search under subjects here, access the things full text. Let's talk about other practitioner resources. So what about when you don't know what you're looking for, or when you know exactly what you're looking for? Why would you bother with a paid service like Lexis or Westlaw? Let's talk about free resources. A good time to turn to free resources is when you're searching for a known item. You have a case citation, a docket number, or some other very specific description of what you're looking for. Go to agency websites. An agency such as the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, shown here, makes their final decisions available complete with a full text search. It's not elegant, but it's free and efficient. Court websites. They make their opinions publicly available for free. The search interfaces vary widely, but if you have a specific citation, you can find the material you need. Here in New Mexico, the appellate opinions are now authenticated and considered official. This particular example is of New Mexico Court of Appeals opinions at the New Mexico Court of Appeals website right here. The U.S. Congress and state legislature make bountiful information available, including bill text, subject organized codes, and bill tracking information. Watch carefully though. Most sites specifically state the information is not official and provide no means of authentication. Is a case when checking a print version, if possible, can be worth the investment of time. This is an official site. Let's talk about Google Scholar. Google Scholar is a large repository of case law as well as articles that can be searched for free. Be sure to limit your initial search to legal documents, as shown here, and limit by jurisdiction. Google Scholar doesn't include statutes or regulations, so hyperlinks in the cases are only to other cases. Google Scholar doesn't have editorial content such as headnotes to guide your research. You must site check using KeyCite or Shepard's. All it gives you is literally the opinion. You have to update it, and you have to remember to update it as part of your ethical duty. New content is added to Google Scholar weekly, but updates to existing content can take a long time. Let's talk about New Mexico law. I'm giving you here links to statutes and court rules for New Mexico law through New Mexico OneSource, bills at New Mexico Legislature's website, regulations where they're available as well, including the Administrative Code and the New Mexico Register, judicial information. Best place to start is New Mexico OneSource or the actual court's website, and then case lookup. If you need to look up cases in terms of dockets, you can do that too. I'm going to give you an example of what that actually looks like. If you go to caselookup.nmcourts.gov, you'll actually be able to look up cases in a very cursory way. You can't search for filings and briefs and pleadings here. You just get information about the case and the parties and the judge and so forth. Let's talk more about New Mexico resources. The U.S. District Court for the District of New Mexico provides a document retrieval system under their opinions link here as shown. It's free to search by keyword or phrase. You can't do that in Pacer. There are various codes in the dockets, including filing date, case number, and case type. This system will retrieve both published and unpublished opinions. Not sure of the exact date coverage, but it's likely to be limited to 10 years or so. What does this system not find? Court filings such as briefs or motions. Note that, again, at the federal court level, you use CourtLink under Lexis to access these kinds of federal court documents. If Lexis's CourtLink doesn't have the item, email our reference desk at libraf@law.unm.edu for assistance. Again, the website address for the District Court of U.S. District Court of New Mexico is at the bottom. They're easy to find using Google. Do you want more? We have more. As a reminder, there's more research training in the form of the Summer Research Series. If you click on lawmedia.unm.edu, you could access those informations. Again, you'll have to log in with the School of Law server credentials. If you have questions, we are available to help at libraf@law.unm.edu. We are happy to help you. We are here for you during this time and beyond, after you graduate and so forth. We really are happy to help. Do contact us with any questions.